Hi there, Steve Arterburn here, and thanks for joining me with Going Deeper. And I want to go deeper with you into a really tough area called hoarding, understanding and loving a person who is a hoarder. Boy, what a complex disorder, but I'm hoping that maybe something that I say here could really help you. The first time I ever was around a hoarder, it's supposed to be going deeper, and you may think this is a little superficial. But while I was going to seminary in Fort Worth, if you can imagine this, on the weekends I was driving over to Dallas and I was escorting debutantes in my early 20s. I had a friend that I had known through college, and she was a debutante. And one day she asked me to escort her in one of these big, huge debutante balls. It was amazing. And you've never seen so much wasted money. Well, I knew how to dance. And we danced all night long. And people saw us doing that. Well, there was this service that set up escorts for the debutantes. Not that kind of service, but it's just they would match the debutantes up. And I became a requested guy for debutantes and dancing. Crazy, isn't it? And I'll tell you, some of those folks were not kind to me because I had kind of a real estate car, not cool cars like they drove. All right, so anyway, there was this giant mansion in Dallas, and this young woman was a debutante, and I was invited to their house. And I didn't understand why upstairs was off limit. But finally, the young woman that was my friend took me up there to see something that was just bizarre. Papers, clutter, everywhere. Downstairs, everything looked pretty normal. But upstairs, where the mother hibernated, it was just full of stuff. Magazines, newspapers, clothes everywhere. And that's when I became so fascinated with hoarding. You know, a person that hoards they feel really compelled to save every newspaper, every magazine that they don't have time to go through. They save it. They think it's got value. Another form of hoarding is when we are a compulsive buyer, just can't stop buying, or an impulsive buyer. I mean, somebody shows you something, you instantly are kind of triggered, and you think, boy, I need that. So a hoarder also could be like a shopaholic, or have couponitis, which is where you get all these coupons and you just think, I've got to take advantage of every one of these things that I can save money on. And so you end up with 100 cans of tuna because you could get such a great deal. Or you end up with 10 pair of the same pants because you got a great deal. So we want to deal with this. We want to help a person that we love and care about to stop hoarding. But it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience. And I'll just help you have your best shot at being a positive influence on them. First thing is this. You want to get curious with this person. So in being there with this person, if you can stand it, but you probably are going to have to be with them outside, rather than inside, because it's really crummy in the house if the hoarding's really bad. But you want to be curious with them, and you want them to be curious. Is there a connection to all this stuff with your past? For instance, kind of a simplistic approach, but maybe this is literally it. Had nothing as a child, now they can buy something, they want to buy stuff. Never got presents when they were young, now they can give presents to themselves. And so you just, or maybe they're so afraid of some apocalypse or something in the next year that they're buying stuff to get ready for the future. And it's just gotten so out of hand. So we want to be curious so that we can get to the source, perhaps, or the reason that all this is happening. What is the benefit of all this stuff? Because there has to be a benefit. So you want them to be curious. And you're just saying, well, I'm here for you, and I'm going to be here for you if you never ever do anything about this. I'm still going to be here for you and care about you. But do you ever wonder why? Or have you figured out why? What is the force that compels you to have this house that obviously isn't like other folks' houses? It's become kind of a source of shame for the person. So what is it that's behind all this? You're curious. You want to know the source. And you want them to get curious and start to figure some of this out. So it's very appropriate to say to them, have you thought it through? Because sometimes a hoarder, the last thing they want to do is to look at the deep hurt that the purchasing or the hoarding is actually treated. So, second thing, you want to, as a person that is helpful, you want to learn about the problem. So you want to go online or get a book and you want to see, now is this maybe a result, a symptom of a deep depression? And this is how this person is dealing with it. Sometimes the depression can lead to procrastination. So rather than take out the garbage, they're just throwing it in another room. Or rather than organizing, it's just one, it's always tomorrow, maybe I'll get to it. They just keep putting stuff off. And then in the midst of it, they don't realize that they've created this mound of horrible stuff. And so you really do want to learn as much about the problem separate from them with books, articles, things like that. It could be literally obsessive compulsive disorder. And, in any kind of OCD, you have this compulsive behavior that must be performed because there's an unresolved emotion that leads to the obsessive mind. It just invades the mind. The more you think about, I don't want to think about that, the more you think about it, and it comes to own you. So if we can learn as much as we can about hoarding and obsession and compulsion, impulsive buying, then if we can do that, maybe we can develop some insight with the person as to what they're really treating. What is it that they're trying to soothe their nerves over, or however you want to say it? Now, the third thing is you want to encourage them to start to get rid of some things. But there's this thing called shifting, or more appropriately, churning, where a person says, I'm going to get organized. But what they're really doing is they got the same amount of stuff. They're moving this over there, moving that over there, and nothing really gets accomplished. So you don't want to encourage them getting organized because, again, that's just churning. What you want to do is you want to encourage them to, there's a 3-pile strategy. It kind of works like this, but it's the stuff we're going to throw away, which is rare, but sometimes garbage is stacked up. Stuff we're going to throw away, stuff we're going to give away, and stuff we're going to keep. And so you make a pass. At some point, you're not organizing, but you're seeing, if you want to be helpful, if this person might be willing to throw some things away that are just trash. That might be the beginning. Or we'll go into some different things, but you've got throw away, give away, and then the stuff you keep. And then once they have stuff they want to keep, then we can ask, is a photograph going to be enough? So you want to keep this, but just a photograph of it so you never lose the memory of it. This can really be a great way for them to say, I can keep it, but I don't have to have it. Sometimes taking a picture and having it on the phone isn't enough. And if you could help them get a simple little printer, they take the picture and they print it out. Sometimes that is enough for them to be free. Okay, now, so we're trying to help them get rid of some stuff. We'll talk a little bit more later. But number 4 is you want to kill the lifeblood of the buying that's going on. So if this person is an impulsive or compulsive buyer, we have to look at how are most of these purchases made. What's the source? Is it watching television and every commercial that has an 800 number, they call it? Are they fixed on Home Shopping Network, 2 or 3 of those shows, and they just have to buy? Or is it online? Every time this deal comes up, they simply have to take advantage of a deal. So you want to cut that off. It might mean I can't have this app on my phone, or I have to block this like Wish that has all these deals that come your way. I might have to block that. So you want to help them see that as long as the TV is on and Home Shopping Network is on, or as long as they're looking at Facebook and these things come up and they don't block them, they're going to be fueling this impulsive or compulsive buying and accumulating things that they don't need. So that's why I say cut off the lifeblood that's there. They may spend every morning shopping. Whatever it is, you want to get them to see that there are some alternate things that they could do beside watching television, surfing the internet for things to buy, whatever it is. Getting with somebody else is really important. A meeting, joining a 12-step group or a support group or a Bible study where people are able to talk about things and not have to hide and cover up. This could mean everything to the person. So you want to encourage them to step out of themselves, and rather than connecting with these bloodlines of hoarding, whether it's internet, television, anything, connect with people. And that could be the thing that would turn it all around, is that connection with people. And then we'll do another, I'll give you 5 more things in the next program, but I want to end with this. Expiration dates matter. So one of the things that you might be able to do with this person is to say, we got to start somewhere. So why don't we start with some of the food, and this might be appropriate. They may have no food. But why don't we start with some of the food that you have, and let's look at expiration dates, and everything that has an expiration date that's passed, let's throw that away. That could be a really good beginning to deal with the problem. But let me just say this. A hoarder ends up developing these brain pathways that kind of feed more hoarding. Very difficult for that to change. But brain plasticity shows us that we can change these kinds of habits. You stepping in and wanting to help, you can't always be wanting to help when you're with this person. You want to be a friend or family member that cares about them, and maybe it's every 3rd time you're with them, you offer up some kind of advice or some kind of assistance or suggestion. But also you want to be open and tell them, look, if it bothers you, when I read something about this and I talk to you about it, if it bothers you, let me know, and I'll just stop doing it. Because you want to be the person that stays connected to the hoarder. I'll give you 5 more things next time. But in the meantime, if you need a counselor, if you need some help, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, or you could go to the website, newlife.com. And we've got some great books on understanding and loving folks, and like depression is one of them. Maybe the person that you love is a narcissist, and that's in that series too. Or maybe they have a sexual addiction problem. That's there too. So check that out at newlife.com or 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Steve Arterburn here. I'll see you next time for Going Deeper.